Chapter 2, the Vedic civilization. The time span of Vedic civilization was from 2000 BC to 600 BC. So in this chapter we will study regarding the Vedic civilization. It is not any kind of other civilization like we studied in Indus Valley civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, then Chinese civilization. It is not that kind of different civilization. It is the part of the Indian civilization. It is a part of India, but why it is called Vedic civilization we will gradually study in this chapter. So this Vedic civilization started from the coming of the Indo-Aryans. Who are these Indo-Aryans? Indo means Indian, and Aryans are actually the people who originally lived in Central Asia, but gradually what happened, because of some problem, we will study what was the problem over there. They started migrating to India. They started coming into India, and since they settled in India, that is why they came to be known as Indo-Aryans, means Indian Aryans. So we will study in details. The Indian civilization, being one of the most ancient in the world, has survived many invasions. Invasions means attacks. Indian civilization, being the most ancient civilization of the world, it has survived, or it has witnessed many attacks and seen rise and fall of many empires. The first people to inherit the legacies of the people of the Indus Valley civilization were the Aryans. We have already studied regarding Indus Valley civilization, and the first people who actually inherited the legacies of the people of Indus Valley civilization. After Indus Valley civilization, the people who inherited the legacy of the people of the Indus Valley civilization were actually the Aryans. These Aryans originally lived in Central Asia and the region around the Caspian Sea. So this was their actually origin. These Aryans, they were not Indians by origin, they were actually living in Central Asia and the regions around the Caspian Sea. And as I told you, why then they started coming into India? Here is the reason. Forced by shortage of food and fodder. In their region, there was shortage of food and fodder. Fodder is the crops that are for the cattle, the crops that are meant for eating of the cattle. So this is fodder. So forced by the shortage of food and fodder, many of them migrated to Europe, while many came into northwest India through the Hindu Kush Pass. So because of the shortage of food and fodder in their region, so many of them migrated to Europe. They went to Europe, while many of them they came to India, that is to the northwestern part of India through the Hindu Kush Pass. If we see the map over here in page number 43, the map is given. Here it is the Hindu Kush Pass. Pass is actually the tunnel, or you can say the passage in between the mountains that connects one country to the other. It is the tunnel or the passage from which you can come from one country to the other. So this was the Hindu Kush Pass, and through this Hindu Kush Pass, these Aryans, they came into India. Not completely into the interior India, but first they came and settled in this green region. You can see the green color shading is given. This is actually the northwestern portion of India, and this was the region where the Indo-Aryans, they first came and settled over here. This is the northwestern region, or you can also say that as the Sapt Sindhu, or the rivers, or the regions of 7 rivers. It is the region of 7 rivers, the Sapt Sindhu region. This was a region where they came and settled down. When they came and settled down, it was a series of waves between 2000 and 1500 BC. Between 2000 and 1500 BC, they started coming one by one gradually and settling in the northwestern portion. This cultured race of light-skinned nomads, this is their color or complexion, or how they looked like. So this cultured race of light-skinned nomads. Nomads means the people who wander from one place to another. They don't stay in one particular place, but they go on wandering from one place to another. Came to be known as the Indo-Aryans. So after they came and settled in India, they came to be known as Indo-Aryans. The civilization developed during the period came to be known as a Vedic civilization. So these Indo-Aryans, they came and settled, but that does not mean that immediately that particular period came to be known as Vedic civilization. No. These Indo-Aryans, when they came and settled, and gradually when the civilization started to develop, that particular time period is known as the Vedic civilization. So early settlements, where these Aryans, they came and settled first. The Aryans occupied the whole of North India in a gradual manner. So first they came and settled in the northwestern region, as I have already told you, that is the Sapt Sindhu region. So in India, this northern portion was the first in which they came and settled. but this is the northern portion, entire northern portion. But they did not come immediately and settle down in the northern portion. No, they came here gradually. Gradually means first they covered the Saptasindhu region or the northwestern region. Then gradually they followed the course of river Ganga and Yamuna, and they started entering to the interior of India. That is, gradually they started covering this northern portion of India. So this was their gradual approach or gradual procedure entering into India. So that is why here it is written, the Aryans occupied the whole of North India in a gradual manner, not immediately but in a gradual manner. They first settled in the Saptasindhu, the seven rivers region, and then moved forward along the course of rivers Ganga and Yamuna, gradually occupying the entire northern region. The first they covered this northwestern region, Saptasindhu region, and gradually they followed the course of river Ganga and Yamuna, and they started covering this entire northern region of India, and this was the place where they settled. This period of the Aryans settling down in the Gangetic Valley is valley is known as the later Vedic age, roughly between 1000 to 600 BC. So this Vedic age or the Vedic civilization is actually divided into two parts. One is early Vedic age, another is later Vedic age. Why this is called early Vedic age? The age or the period when they came and settled in this northwestern region or the Saptasindhu region, that particular phase is known as the early Vedic age. And the period when they gradually entered and settled in this Gangetic Valley or the northern region of India, that period is known as the later Vedic age. So this Vedic age or the Vedic civilization is divided into two parts or two time periods, early Vedic age, later Vedic age. So here it is written, the period of the Aryans settling down in the Gangetic Valley is known as the later Vedic age, and that was between 1000 to 600 BC. It was during this period that events related to the two great epics, we know that the two great epics of India are Mahabharata and Ramayana, and this is the particular time period when these two great epics took place. When was that particular time? That was the later Vedic age, and that is why we will study it in this chapter. Later Vedic age is also known as the epic age, because that was the particular time when two great epics of India took place, that is Mahabharata and Ramayana. We have no archaeological remains which could be attributed to the Aryans, and our knowledge of the Aryans is derived solely from Vedic literature. So we don't have any kind of archaeological remains. We have already studied what are these archaeological remains. Archaeological remains, like you can say monuments, the ruins, the coins, seals, statues, pottery, these are all the archaeological remains. But for Vedic civilization we don't have, regarding these Aryans, we don't have any kind of archaeological remains. So any information that we get about these Aryans, that is solely from this Vedic literature, and this is the reason why this particular age is known as Vedic civilization, because most of our information, most of our knowledge about this particular period is derived from the Vedic literature. Now we will study what is this Vedic literature actually. The Vedas. So first the Vedas. So all this comprises of the Vedic literature. The Vedas, the Brahmanas, Upanishads, Puranas, the two great epics, Mahabharata, Ramayana, all this together, when we, all these works or all this literature, when we put together, when we combine together, that particular compilation, you can say, is Vedic literature. So first comes the Vedas. In Vedic literature, the first comes, that is the Vedas. The Vedas are the sacred books of the Aryans. Veda is a Sanskrit word which means knowledge. Veda is actually the Sanskrit word. Its meaning is knowledge. The Vedas are a collection of, so what are these Vedas? These Vedas are actually the collection of hymns, prayers, charms, litanies and sacrificial formulae. Hymns are the mantras that the priests say during any kind of religious ceremony while worshipping God. So these all these mantras, you can say, or any kind of prayer that we do to God or to worship the God, all these kind of hymns, prayers, charms, litanies and all sorts of sacrificial formulae. Sacrificial formulae is like you can say the sacrifices of animals that are done to worship God or to please God. All these things are written in the Vedas. So there are total 4 Vedas. That is the Rig Veda. It is the oldest Veda. The Rig Veda is the first and the oldest Veda. Then the Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda. These are the 4 Vedas. Then the Brahmanas, Upanishads, Puranas, and the 2 epics, the Ramayana and Mahabharata, are some of the other religious books of the Aryans, collectively known as Vedic literature. So all these together, they are known as Vedic literature. In spite of not narrating events in a chronological manner, so in Vedic age or Vedic civilization, the events are not in a chronological manner. Chronological manner means sequence wise, means it is not in a particular sequence of time period. We get to know a lot about the political, socio-economic and religious conditions of the Aryans during the Vedic period. So not in a particular chronological manner, still from this Vedic literature we come to know about their political life, socio-economic life, religious conditions of the Aryans. Brahmavarta or the Vedic age, the period during which the Vedas and other Vedic literature we have already studied regarding Vedas and the Vedic literature. So the period when these Vedas and the Vedic literature were written, that is known as the Vedic age. During this period, the Aryans permanently settled down in India. So this by the time this Vedic age started, by that time the Aryans completely settled down in India, means they entered to the Gangetic Valley and they are now completely settled over there and gave birth to the Vedic civilization. It is called the Vedic civilization. So why it is called Vedic civilization? Because our knowledge about this civilization comes chiefly from the Vedas. We already studied here, we don't have any archaeological remains about this particular period. So solely our information on this particular time period is derived from Vedic literature or from the Vedas. So that is why this civilization is known as Vedic civilization. This Vedic civilization is divided into 2 periods. I already told you regarding these 2 periods, that is the early Vedic period or the Rig Vedic age, the later Vedic period or the epic age. The early Vedic period, as I told you, when the Aryans they came and settled in this northwestern portion or the Saptasindhu region, that particular period is known as the early Vedic period or Rig Vedic age. Why it is called Rig Vedic age? Because that was the period, in this early Vedic period was the period when Rig Veda was composed. The first Veda, the oldest Veda was composed, that is Rig Veda. That is why the early Vedic period is also known as the Rig Vedic age. Then the later Vedic period, as I told you, when they gradually entered the Gangetic Valley, they settled over here, that particular period is known as the later Vedic period or the epic age. Why it is called the epic age? This also you have already studied, because that was the time when Ramayana and Mahabharata took place. So first we will study regarding the Rig Vedic age and the epic age. In this chapter we will study social and economic conditions prevailing both in early Vedic period or the Rig Vedic age, that was from 2000 BC to 1000 BC, means the time period or the time span of early Vedic age or the Rig Vedic age was 2000 BC to 1000 BC, and the time span of later Vedic age or the epic age was 1000 BC to 600 BC. So first we will come across this word, new word, that is epic. What is epic? Story of the character and achievements of heroes. The story of any particular character or the achievements of great heroes, that particular compilation is known as epic. So we will study the social conditions of the Aryans. First is the village. You can see the picture of a village of the Aryans during that time is given over here. The Aryans lived in well planned villages. If we see this village, you can see how well planned it is. A village consisted of a number of joint families and was called a gram. So in villages, a number of joint families stay together, and particular villages are called gram. Most of the villages were rectangular in shape. They were usually a stockade around the village. So they were rectangular in shape. And they were stockade. You can see the stockade over here surrounding the village. There was one main entrance gate in a village. It had well laid out streets. So one main entrance gate is only there to the village. Entering the village, there is only one main entrance gate, since it was completely surrounded by stockades. So there was only one main entrance, and the streets of the villages were also very well planned. The houses were constructed in a systematic way. These houses were made of wood, bamboo, straw, and reeds. These were in fact thatched huts. You can see here thatched huts. These are thatched huts tied together by ropes, bars and pegs. They are tied together. These thatches are actually tied together either by ropes or bars or pegs. Pegs are actually, you might be knowing those fences which are like thorny, means iron thorns that comes out. They are the sharp iron thorns that comes out. They are the pegs. We usually use that in making boundaries, in giving fences. So those are the pegs. So those pegs are used to tie these thatched huts. A group of villages was called the vish. So many this type of villages together, they are called vish. The village community was made up of families. The Aryans attached great importance to family as a unit in social organization. For them, family was the most important unit of social organization. The king interfered very little in village life. So the village administration was very less interfered by the king. Every village had what we today call as a local self-government. Today, as we have today as every village we have this local self-government, they also had the practice of this local self-government during that time also, or something similar to it. It was a type of local self-government, and this local self-government administered the entire village. The king, very little he interfered in the village administration. So that was the village life of the people. Then the family and the status of women. The family was the primary unit of society, means the first most important unit of the society was the family. There was a joint family system of often 3 generations lived together. 3 generations like the father, the grandfather and the grandchildren. So obviously this is 3 generations. So that is why it is a joint family system. The eldest male member was the head of the family and was called Grihapati. So since the families were joint family, so the eldest male member was the head of the family and he was called Grihapati. He had full authority over all the members of the joint family. It was also his duty to look after the family members. Thus, it was a patriarchal system of family. So, since patriarchal means the eldest male member was the head. So that is why that kind of family system is known as a patriarchal system, a system in which the male head had the final authority. So this is important. The family system was patriarchal system. Now we will see the status of women during that period, during the Aryans, during the period of the Aryans. Women held an important position. No religious ceremony could be performed unless the wife joined the husband. So from this we come to know how much important women were during that time. There was no parda system. Parda is that cover that or the veil that the women had to put in front of their faces. But during that time there was no such kind of parda system, and women did not have to cover their faces with a veil. Women of noble families were given education and training in fine arts. Women of good families, they were even given education and training in fine arts. Women even composed Rig Vedic hymns. At that time the women, they were so much educated that they even composed Rig Vedic hymns. Rig Vedic hymns, the hymns that are written in Rig Veda. Women could choose their own husbands in a ceremony called Swayamvar by garlanding the chosen groom. So here is a picture of a Swayamvar given. So the women, they had such a good position in the society during that time that they even had the freedom of choosing their own husband through this ceremony that is called Swayamvar. Then division of the society. The Aryan society was divided into 4 classes. The Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas and the Shudras. So we will study them one by one. First position in the society was of the Brahmins. They learned the Vedas and performed religious ceremonies and taught the people. So the learning of the Vedas was the sole duty or the sole responsibility of a Brahmin. Here is a picture of a Brahmin given. He learned the Vedas and he also had the responsibility of performing religious ceremonies, and he also taught the people. Then the Kshatriyas, here is a picture of Kshatriya given, where the ruling and the warrior class, their function was to govern and defend their land. So the work of the Kshatriya, the function of the Kshatriya was to govern, administer their land as well as defend. Defend means protect their land. The Vaishyas, here is a picture of the Vaishyas given, followed the occupation of agriculture, cattle rearing and trade. And the Shudras, they were the lowest class of the society, were the class who made their living by doing manual and other unskilled jobs. Manual means works that are done by hand, that is sweeping, cleaning. So these are all manual works or any kind of other unskilled jobs to serve the other 3 classes. So their duty was to serve the upper 3 classes. So that they were the Shudras. Then food and food habits. The Aryans ate simple but nourishing food. Wheat, maize, barley were their staple diet. Staple means their most important diet was wheat, maize and barley. They had milk and milk products such as butter, ghee, curd, and cheese. They also knew about milk and milk products. They also consumed means also ate honey, fruits, vegetables, and meat. They even served special food to special guests on special occasions. So they also had the practice of serving special food to special guests during special occasions. Among drinks, they had soma and sura juice. So these were the drinks that they had, that was soma and sura juice, which were intoxicating strong drinks. The former drink was even offered to gods, that is soma. Soma was even offered to gods. This was the drink that was offered to gods during some kind of religious ceremonies. Then games and amusements. The Aryans found time for games and amusement. Hunting, horse racing, chariot racing, wrestling, dancing, music and dice gambling were their favorite recreations. These were the games, or these were the recreations that they did for their enjoyment. And then economic life. First is agriculture. The Aryans were primarily agriculturists. Their main occupation was agriculture. Their main occupation was the cultivation of land. Rain was the most important source of irrigation. Wells, canals. Irrigation means providing water to the agricultural field. So rain was the most important source of irrigation. If there were no rains, they also had the system of wells, canals, and lakes for irrigating their fields. They carried on cultivation of land with the help of a pair of oxen. So they used oxen in cultivating their lands. Wheat, barley, rice, cotton, and oilseeds were the main products from their field. Then, other than agriculture, they also had the occupation of domestication of animals. The Aryans were shepherds by occupation. Cattle rearing was their favorite activity. Cattle rearing means keeping of cattle, rearing of cattle. The cattle was the measure of their wealth, property, and status. So according to the Aryans, the person having more cattle is the most wealthiest person. He is the wealthiest person. So according to them, cattle is a measure of wealth. Like we have now money or gold as a measure of wealth, but at that time cattle was their measure of wealth, property, and status. The cow was the main and highly valued animal. So for them, cow was a very precious, very highly valued animal. The status of a family was judged from the number of cows it had. So how can we say a family is rich or poor? Their status is decided by the number of cows that family is having. If the family is having many cows, that means the family is a rich family. If they are having less cows, that means the family is a less family. So the cow is used as a measure of wealth. The cow was used even as a medium of exchange of goods. So they were also using cows as exchange of goods. Like if they purchase something, in return they did not give money. They did not give money, but they used to exchange it with cows. The cow was called agnya. Injuring or killing of cows was prohibited. It was completely restricted. Injuring or killing of cows was completely restricted. Prohibited means restricted. Besides cows, the Aryans reared bulls, oxen, horses, asses, sheep, goats, and dogs. So other than cow, these were the other animals that were reared by the Aryans. Then another occupation was trade and commerce. Some Aryans engaged themselves in trade and commerce. Trade was done mainly through the barter system. Already we have studied here regarding the barter system, that was exchange of cows in return of any goods. So that was the barter system, exchange of a good in return of goods. So their trading was mainly on this barter system. The value of a thing was measured in terms of the cows. As we have already studied, cow was their highly valued animal. So anything they had to purchase, they used to purchase it at the value of cows. Thus the cow was the standard value. Of course, a sort of coin was also used. So not only cow, but a sort of coin, a type of coin was also used during that time, that was called nishka. It was also in use during those days. Trade was carried mainly on land, that is through land, that is carts, bullock carts, horse carts. So those carts were used for trading purpose on land, but sea trade was also unknown to them. They did not know about sea trade. They only traded through land. They did not know about sea trade at that time. Then the use of metals. The discovery of iron was a great contribution of this period. Being a harder and stronger metal than copper or bronze, the Aryans used iron for making different types of tools. So at that time iron was discovered, and it made greater contribution to the Aryan society. Iron being harder and stronger metal in comparison to copper or bronze, so the Aryans started making different types of tools and weapons by using this iron. Thus, iron proved very helpful in their economic life as also giving them superior armies. So, since iron was used for making harder and stronger tools and weapons, for which their economic life improved as well as their armies also became strong. Economic life improved because they had these tools made up of iron which helped them in agriculture, for which their economy improved, and their armies became strong because they made weapons out of iron which were very strong weapons. So their armies also became strong, equipped with better quality weapons. Equipped means the army were given better quality weapons like swords, arrowheads, and spears. Copper, known as aya, they were using this term ayas for copper, was also used. The shrenis of craftsmen came into existence. Shrenis means the group of craftsmen, like you can say ironsmith one group, goldsmith another group, weaver another group, then carpenter another group. So these were the groups of craftsmen. They were called shrenis. Then other occupations where the Aryans made a lot of progress in different arts and crafts. The Rig Veda mentions, in Rig Veda there is the mention of these occupations. So from this we come to know that they had these occupations also, like potters, weavers, carpenters, jewelers, ironsmith and goldsmith, leather workers, metal crafters, chariot makers. So these occupations also existed during the Aryan civilization or the Aryan period. These were the other occupations of the Aryans. There are references of physicians, means doctors also. So in Rig Veda there is mention of these physicians also, doctors. But one striking point was that no profession was regarded below dignity. This was the most important striking feature of the Vedic civilization, was no profession was considered as below dignity, means below respect. All the occupations, all the professions, whatever it may be, it was equally respected in the society. People were free to choose their occupation and profession and change it. So the people, they were free to choose their occupation. They were free to choose this occupation according to their own choice, and if they wanted, they also had the freedom to change their occupation.